Hello, everyone. I love seeing what everyone is wearing. Gada, you're wearing a beautiful color today. Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Mb.
You look like a
Thank you.
flower,
Thank you.
like a
You too.
gorgeous flower.
Thanks. Thank you too.
Thank you. You're very kind. I have to get many suggestions from friends about how to dress because I do not have a fashion sense. So I
Mm.
write my girlfriends all the time and say, what do I wear?
Uh, I nice wear a nice haircut also. I like
Oh,
your
thank
haircut.
you.
Thank you.
My hair was brown for many years, and then
Yes, I saw it in the video.
I had to turn it to gray for a role I was playing,
Yes.
and I liked it, so I'm just going to
Yes.
leave it.
Yes, it's nice on you. I
Thank
saw
you.
you in brown hair in the video you sent us. Yes.
Yes, I only had to
Yes.
change it about 2 months ago, so all of my friends, when they see me now, are so shocked.
Yes, no, but
What
this is nice
happened?
for you.
You know.
I think it's nice.
Thank you. All right, let us dive in. Welcome, friends. I'm sure you've all had a very busy and stressful work day, so I appreciate you being with us. Today, we're going to take a look at communication skills, specifically nonverbal communication skills, which are one of my specialties as an actor. And we'll do a couple of housekeeping things before we begin, just like last time. So I would like to take our break, our 10-minute break, at 7 o'clock your time. But as always, I am flexible on when that happens. Would anyone like to suggest a time other than 7 for a 10-minute break?
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, yes, it's okay.
No, it's fine with me too.
wonderful. All right, thank you very much. I love the floating thumbs. Thank you, Ola. Those are very entertaining. Nice. And I also know that our administrative team, which is so good, y'all, I just have to say, your administrators are so on the ball. And that is not the case with all of the FAMER regional institutes. So your wonderful administrative team has connected with 6 of you to act as moderators. And those moderators should have received a couple of documents, a picture of a human, and then something called secret instructions. So moderators, is there anyone who was unable to access either the picture or the secret instructions? Raise your hand if you had any difficulty. Okay, excellent. But I'm not surprised. As I said, I'm spoiled for all the other regional institutes by your administrators. Then let us dive in. So today, we're going to study communication skills, and this entire unit is broken into 4 lessons. 2 of those lessons are mandatory, and 2 are optional if you have time. So the first mandatory lesson, which perhaps some of you have already been able to do, was called Body Messages. And that one was about what happens when your face, your voice, and your body are all doing the same thing, sending the same message, and what happens when they are all doing different things. The second mandatory session is this one today, our synchronous session. And this is going to be all about nonverbal communication. Then there are 2 optional sessions, and we understand everybody at FAMER is incredibly busy. If you can't get to them, that is fine. But if you can, the first one is called Body Influence, and that has to do with how we move and pose our body can actually influence how we think and feel, which is very useful information for public speakers, which we all are. The other one is about hand gestures. I have had many people in FAMER say that when they have to present in public, especially a multicultural meeting, they don't know what to do with their hands. So that one is all about hand gestures. If you have time to do them, great. If you don't, that is okay. So now let's take a look at the core question that we're going to be examining today. And I will share my screen. I've been practicing with my new computer. Hopefully you can all see this. Our core question, please read through this. So there are many seminars on YouTube and TikTok and in books about effectively supporting your learners with your physical and vocal communication. But I am equally interested in how we support ourselves. What I've learned from FAMR fellows and faculty is that if they are not feeling confident about their bodies and their voices and their communication skills, presenting at a conference can be a terrible experience. So I want to study how can we also boost our confidence as public communicators, and we'll be working on that today. Here are our goals for today, so please read through these. And what I'd like you to note specifically here is that today, together, we will work on the first three of these goals: recognize, cultivate, articulate. The last two goals, assessing and brainstorming, you will work on yourself in a very short 10 to 15 minute asynchronous session right after this one. But we'll cover the first three. So now let us move into our first big content section, taking charge of your nonverbal message using something I call body shape. And now I want to bring you back to me because I miss you. So when I talk about body shape, I am not talking about how fit you are, how much weight you can lift, right? I'm talking about the shapes we make with our entire body that send messages to other people. I want to dig more deeply into this question. Is it possible that what we do with our bodies can influence how we think and feel? So we already know that how we think and feel influences our bodies. For example, if I have just had a terrible fight with my family and I go into work and I'm like this, someone at work will look at me and say, "Ooh, she had a bad morning." Because what I'm thinking and feeling is influencing me physically. It's reflected in my body. But what about the other way around? Is it possible for me to affect how I think and feel by changing my body position? So we're going to do a group exercise. For this exercise, I would ask you to, at some point, you'll have to stand next to your chair. So you don't have to do it yet, but just make sure you have room to stand next to your chair. I'm going to describe to you and then demonstrate a very particular body shape. Then I'm going to ask you to take on the body shape with me. We will live inside, we will hold this body shape for about 1 minute. And during that minute, I'm going to be coaching you. Going to be asking you to pay attention to any thoughts and any feelings that rise up as a result of that body shape. Then we'll let it go and we'll talk about what we discovered. So before I show you the first body shape, what questions do you have? Okay. And of course, you can ask questions during, whenever you need to. So the first body shape is what I call seated fetal. I'll describe it to you first and then I'll show you. Of course, it's always tricky to show you things on Zoom, so I'm going to give it to you a couple different ways. For this body shape, you'll stay in your chair, you'll be seated. I'll ask you to press your feet and your knees together, to wrap your arms around your torso, to lean forward, and to look down. Now I'm going to show it to you. You will notice that my sound has just changed because I've had to unplug right here so that you can see me. So I'm going to back my chair up quite a ways. All right. So please do this with me. In your chair, please press your feet and your knees together. Please wrap your arms around your torso. Please lean forward and let your head drop. Now, as I speak, maintain that position. But if at any moment you feel uncomfortable, you can let it go. Your health and your comfort are far more important than any exercise. So take a break whenever you need one. Now, as you hold this position, I want you to try to just pay attention to what is running through your mind. Are there any thoughts that come up as a result of being in this position? Please take breaks whenever you need to and keep breathing. Are there any emotions that rise up as you hold this position?
Yes, I'm comfortable. Introvert.
Yes. So hang on to your feedback for just a moment. Thank you for that, Gada. And then we'll collect it. You have about 15 more seconds with this position. Take breaks whenever you need to. Keep breathing. All right, and let that go. Thank you very much. And let's start off with what Gada just said. So a feeling of being introverted, absolutely. What else did you notice? What thoughts and what feelings popped up? Syra.
It was a very comfortable position, and for once, it came in my mind that I am focusing on myself and other thoughts are going away. Something like this. It's very vague.
Yes, excellent. So it felt private, it felt perhaps safe, comfortable, introverted. Abir says safety, absolutely. So we are forming kind of a protective cocoon with our arms and our spine bent forward and our head tucked down. Very private, only thinking about ourselves. Very nice. Let's try another one. Basem says like restarting. Yes, I actually find myself sometimes doing this when I have received complicated news and I need to think it through. And it is kind of like a restart, right? I am keeping the rest of the world away so that I can attend to my own thoughts. Thank you for that feedback. So for our next position, this is based on my teenage nephew who stands like this all the time. So this is called teenager. I will describe it to you and then demonstrate. For this one, you will be standing next to your chair or behind your chair. Your feet are together. One hip is cocked, like teenagers always do. One hand on that hip. Other arm swinging free, and then looking at the ceiling. So my sound will change as I, and hopefully you'll be able to see me. Move my chair out of the way. So here I am back here. I have my feet tucked together. It's a little tough to see, but I have one hip cocked. Let me bend my screen so you can see that. Yeah, it's a little tricky to make sure you see it. But one hip is cocked. I have my hand on that hip, other arm hanging down, and I'm looking at the ceiling. So please stand wherever you are, if you are able. Stand with your feet together. One hip cocked to the side, arm on that hip, other arm hanging free, and look up at the ceiling. I'll ask you to maintain this position for a minute. And again, if it bothers your neck, let it go. You can always just use your eyes to look at the ceiling if you must. Take breaks whenever you need. Remember to keep breathing. And just notice any thoughts or any feelings that rise up in this position. And please take a break whenever you need to. This can be hard on the neck. And keep breathing. Thoughts and feelings that go along with this body shape. And we have about 15 more seconds. Take breaks whenever you need to. And let's let that one go. Thank you so much. Please take a seat. So let us collect some of our impressions from this body shape. What did you notice? What did you think? What did you
I know.
feel in this body shape?
I need to take a break.
Gada says, I need to take a break. Yes. Usually I see this in my nephew
Nothing.
when he has had enough of adults and does not want anyone to tell him anything anymore. And this is the
Yes.
body shape that I see.
Let me alone. Let me alone.
Yes, leave me alone. Exactly. Anyone else? Any thoughts or feelings that you noticed in this body shape?
Okay, so it was like I'm doing nothing and I don't want to do anything. Something
Yes.
like that. I'm just standing like this.
That's
Leave me alone.
exactly right. And it communicates a very strong message. Now, sometimes I still will make him do things, but he does not want to do them. And his communication is extremely clear. We have from Bassem, helpless. Oh, that's interesting. Helpless. So feeling that you are not in charge of whatever is happening around you. Interesting. Abir says bored. Yes. Oh my goodness. The eyes to the ceiling. Farman, I thought I might fall down. Yes, this one of the things that's interesting about this body shape, it is not aligned, right? Because the hip is cocked out and the eyes are up, the body is actually a little unstable. Interesting. Samreen says, I feel like I'm going to open up my chat so I can see the entire thing. Rico, for everyone. I feel like just stop whatever you're doing. Yes. Thank you very much. That's excellent. All right, we're going to try one more. And this one you will be very familiar with. I call it superhero. And this is the pose that you see on almost every movie poster for a superhero film. They are standing in this position. So I'll describe it to you, I'll do it, and then I'll ask you to join me. Standing, feet spread wide, fists on both hips with the elbows out, chin lifted, eyes looking straight ahead. So you look like a hero. We'll change again as I unplug. And I invite you to try this with me. So we are standing, if you can stand beside or behind your chair. My feet are very wide, they're about this wide. I have my hands on my hips. I have my chin lifted, and I am looking straight ahead at whatever's coming toward me. So please maintain that position. Take breaks whenever you need. Keep breathing. And just notice any thoughts or any feelings that pop up. Keep breathing. We have about 15 more seconds. Take a break whenever you need one. And thank you very much. You can shake that off and please resume your seat. So tell me about this one.
So it
Bassem-
was like very dominating thoughts. I'm going to break something or
Absolutely, dominating thoughts. Bassem says, follow me, I have a vision, I'm in control. Gada says, aggressive and dominating. Ola says, confident. Absolutely. Any other thoughts and feelings that you noticed?
What do you want?
You can see why this one is called superhero, right? The Let's see. Iman says, I am able to do it. Samreen says, position to order. Absolutely. So you have a very wide base with your feet, which makes you feel stable. Your spine is completely aligned, which makes you feel powerful. Having your elbows out like this makes yourself larger than you actually are. Farman says, I thought if I put my right hand on chin, it can help me in thinking. Yes, thinking very confidently. You see this one sometimes on superhero posters too. Right, that's the intelligent superhero thinking. Military, says Ahmed, absolutely. There is a lot of thought and precision put into nonverbal communication in the military. They want to always communicate confidence and dominance, and this is one of the ways they do it, by studying nonverbal communication. Thank you very much. So it appears from this very non-scientific study that perhaps it is possible for what we do with our bodies to influence how we think and feel. And I recommend that you have a thought about that later on. Because as public speakers and as educators, I am sure you know, there are days when you don't want to do it, when you are tired or distracted or not interested in the content or feeling intimidated at a huge international conference. I have found, and this is just my experience, but I have found that if I assume a confident pose, I feel more confident. That sometimes I can overcome my fatigue, my discouragement, my distraction by putting my body in a confident position. So I invite you to experiment with that. If you have to go teach a class and you're just so tired, you can barely stand up, try using your body in this way. And then maybe you can email me and tell me how it went. I would love to know. So it appears, perhaps, our bodies can affect how we think and feel. How do our bodies affect our listeners? The messages that we send with our bodies, and we send millions of them a day, how do they affect the people to whom we are speaking? Let's do a little investigation into that. So, in a moment, we're going to break into 6 groups, and our 6 moderators, you will be in charge, 1 for each group. I will give you these instructions verbally. Then I will put up a slide that you can take a screenshot of. You're going to work in your groups for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back together as a large group and share what we found. Each moderator has received from me a picture of a human in a particular body shape, and each body shape is different for each group. So moderators, I'd like you, as soon as your group is assembled, to share the image with your group. You can put it in the chat, anything. You can put it on your phone and hold it up to the screen, whatever you like. So everybody takes a look at your group's human. And then I want you to brainstorm 3 positive messages you receive from that body image, that body shape, and 3 negative messages. Now, this may seem very easy. It's not. For example, if your group has an image of a person doing this, it can be very difficult to come up with 3 positive messages. But that is your challenge. So moderators, your job is to show your group the image, write down their 3 positive and 3 negative messages. And if you have to be tough with them to get 3 of each, you go ahead and do that. And keep track of their ideas so you can tell us when we regather. So before I put up the slide that has these instructions on it, what questions do you have? Okay, here comes the slide. And administrators, I think we'll give people 15 seconds or so to take a photo of the slide, and then we can break them into their 6 groups. All right, so I'll get you to my screen. And here is the slide with your instructions. If you want to take a screenshot of it, please do so. And we'll give you a few seconds to do that, and then we'll head into 6 small groups. All right, hopefully everybody has taken a picture of this. And so administrators, we can go ahead and break into 6 small groups. Thank you. All right, let's see if we are able to do that. Zineb, are we able to break into 6 small groups?
Okay,
Thank you.
welcome.
And of course, we'll have 1 moderator per group. Thank you.
They will come back after 10 minutes, right?
That would be perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
And it looks like Ahmed is having some connectivity problems.
Okay, we will contact with him.
Thank you very much. Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe come back. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for your work in the small groups. We'll give folks a moment to rejoin us. I think that is almost everybody. Excellent. So thank you very much for working in your small group. And I would love to hear from each moderator. I'm going to share my screen and show a photo, and then I'll ask whatever moderator had that photo to share with us their group's feedback. So we'll start with this first photo of a gentleman sitting on a park bench. There we go. And moderator for this group, tell me who you are. Who moderated group 1?
عبير عطية.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Abir. I have it written down here somewhere. Please tell us what your group discovered.
3 positive features. He is confident, relaxing, and comfortable.
Excellent. Very nice. And tell us what negative you might have found.
Careless, distracted, over casual, and disengaged.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So let us talk for a moment about exactly what's going on in this man's body that led to these ideas. So one thing that struck me immediately was you mentioned that he was casual, he was relaxed. One of the big messengers of the entire body is muscular tension. So if their muscles look relaxed, we get a certain set of messages from the body. If all of his muscles were tense, we would get a very different message. And your group picked up on that, which was excellent. You also mentioned you thought he looked distracted. He is looking away from us, the viewer, looking somewhere else. There are 4 places that the human eye can focus, and this is not scientific. So those of you who are doctors know much more about this than I do. But socially speaking, the eyes can focus in, which is when they are open, but we're thinking about ourselves. They can focus out, just on the environment around us. They can focus on the horizon, way off in the distance, and they can focus to the side. So what is interesting about this person is his eyes are to the side and perhaps on the horizon in the distance. So immediately that sends a message to us, the viewer, that this person, his mind is somewhere else. It is not in his immediate environment. So if we were walking through this park, would we approach this man? He looks very relaxed, but he's not looking at us. His mind is elsewhere. So we might hesitate. Thank you very much for that feedback, Abir. Let's move on to our next photo. This person who looks like she's not having a great day. Who was the moderator for group number 2?
Yeah, that's me.
Excellent, Bassem. What did you find?
So we'll start with we had some challenges with this picture when we start our group, but I'll try to summarize it in a story. We try to build a story about this lady.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's a strong lady, and we can see this from her facial expression. She's confident and well kept, even if she's in trouble now, but she's still well kept and is sitting up straight.
Mhm.
So she is determined to come out of this trouble. She's in trouble now, and the feeling of the group that she was left alone. She feeling lonely and sad, but she is strong enough to come out of this. On the other side, she is kind of introvert or withdrawing from surrounding. She's crossing her hands. She is crossing the legs, and
Yes.
she looks away. So this is the story we build around this lady.
Thank you. And thank you, Bassem, for bringing up the idea of story, because story is all about the messages that we're receiving. So as humans, as we receive messages, we automatically create narrative. We create story. And we do it hundreds and hundreds of times a day. We are very good at making stories. So thank you for introducing that idea. So let's break down exactly what we're seeing and why this group received these messages. One of the big messengers in body shape is whether limbs are open or closed. So if we go back to our previous picture, his limbs are open. If we come to this picture, her limbs are closed. So the idea of self-protection comes along with closed limbs. She looks like she is trying to keep herself safe, keep herself private. Also, as we saw in the last photo, her gaze is away. It's impossible to tell if she's looking at something in her environment or in the distance, but she is looking to the side. And of all those 4 places we can focus the eye, looking to the side is the most confusing for humans. As soon as someone looks to the side, we become curious about what they're looking at and why they're not looking at us. So again, she's giving this impression of wanting to be private, working through something on her own. I also want to point out another big messenger with the body is spinal orientation. So there are many different ways the spine can move. It can be straight up, rising toward the heavens. It can be tilted a bit forward. It can be tilted to the side. But in these 2 pictures, his spine is tilted back. Her spine is forward and down. So that gives her, again, a feeling of creating a cave with her own body. We get feelings of protection and privacy from her. So again, I don't know if we would approach her if we didn't know her. If I was in a new city and I needed directions to get somewhere, I don't know that I would approach this person. She's working through something on her own. Thank you very much, Bassem and group. Well done. Let's take a look at our next picture. This picture makes me laugh because I see my students do this an awful lot. Okay, so who was the
Yes.
moderator for group 3?
Me, I'm Reda.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. What did you
Yes.
find?
I found that from this context, I think he is in a classroom or a meeting room, dressed formally, tilting to the side and his head up and his eyes up. I don't know if he are looking to the sky or looking to the speaker who are sitting high on him. Because
Yes.
this gave a different interpretation.
Absolutely.
So we have 3, more than 3. So one of us said that it is totally bored, seem not understanding. Some
Yes.
yes, this or sometime, but I don't feel that he is dismissive or superior to what he is going around him. Or sometimes withdrawn and uninvested, yani not invested in the outcome. So say what you are saying, I'm not interested.
Yes.
Sometimes we see it if a long meeting, so maybe tired after a long meeting, bored. This is the negative. And if it is in the meeting, I asked my team if the positive overweight the negative. So Dr. Feynman said that, no, it gave me a positive. But me and Hadir think that by the way he dressed, no, this give in a meeting or classroom, this gives a negative impression more than positive impression. On the other side, positive impression may be feeling relaxed, feeling comfortable, feeling physically and mentally relaxed, but not when I wear this formal dress. if I am wearing a non-formal dress and sitting like that in a couch in my family home or in my home. So this may give me an impression that I am trusted, relaxed, comfortable, or something like that. But in a formal dress in a meeting, no, it gives me more negative impression than positive impression.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And I think you bring up a very important point, Kata, which is context makes a big
Context, yes.
difference in body messages. So if we said this person is sitting in a lecture and he's trying hard to figure out what's happening in the lecture, that gives one set of messages. But if I said to you, this person is sitting at a party, that's another
Yes.
set of messages. This person
Yes.
is sitting in his own home on his couch, another set of messages. So to get the full meaning from a whole body shape, we absolutely need context. So thank you for bringing that up. So a couple things that we see in this person's body that are giving this group these impressions. His eyes, again, maybe they're on the distance, but they are to the side. Immediately, that makes us intrigued and a little confused. His limbs are open. He has no muscular tension. He's very relaxed. But look at his feet. He is not connected to the earth, right?
Mm.
So he gives the overall impression of being perhaps lost, perhaps confused, perhaps not following the lecture. He may have to borrow his friend's notes after the lecture. And all of that is coming, as you said, from these various physical things he's doing. His spine is back into the side. And again, when humans are not aligned, when our heads, our eyes, our spines are going to the side, it is giving a different message. It makes us very intrigued, but it also confuses us. Thank you very much for that. All right, let us move on to our next one. I think we'll do one more and then we'll get ready to take our break. So our next one, I enjoy this one very much. So who is the leader of group 4?
Yes, me, Iman Helmi.
Iman. Wonderful. What
Okay.
did you find?
The 3 positive messages that we have found. She is confident. She's welcoming,
Mm-hmm.
open, and comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very nice.
On the other side, the 3 negative messages are no eye contact, no facial expression, lack of enthusiasm,
Mm-hmm.
unclear message. يعني
Yes.
the gesture is inconsistent with the face. The
Yes.
hand gesture is inconsistent with the face.
Thank you. Yes, you have brought up the idea of a mixed message. And mixed messages are very confusing for humans. So her limbs are technically open, which usually would seem inviting or welcoming. But the look on her face and the fact that she's looking down into the side contradicts that message. So we immediately think, I don't think she's happy to see us. Something is not making sense here. And that intrigues us and immediately grabs our attention. Her spine, however, is forward and up, which often indicates interest. And as you said, because her weight is evenly distributed on both of her legs, she looks confident. This looks to me like someone who is in charge, but perhaps at the moment is not happy. All right, thank you very much. It looks like we have time to actually do another one. So let us jump forward. Very nice work, Iman and group. And let's take a look at this one. This is another study in mixed messages. So who was the moderator for group 5?
It's Ola.
Yes, Anna.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. The positive messages I get from the group is that she looks confident. She has a comfortable facial expression.
Mm-hmm.
And she dressed formal as her colleagues, it seems from the side of the photos. She's not odd from the others. But the negative messages is that we got the feeling that the smile is fake. The closed arm seems that she's trying to be confident, but she's struggling for this. But
Ah,
she's
yes.
closed. She's not open for talking. And her leg, one of them is straight and the other is bended.
Yes.
Also, it is closed. It is also closed. It means that she's not that much confident. It's just struggling to do this.
Thank you very much. So this is, I really enjoy this photo because it is such a mixed message. So as you said, her facial expression could be welcoming and happy, but the fact that her limbs are partly crossed and there's a little muscular tension in her upper body contradicts that. Context here would be very helpful. So if I said to you, this person is at an international conference, you would receive one set of messages. If I said to you, this person is actually at a birthday party, then you would think, what? What's going on here? So she's giving off a very confusing message, which makes her very interesting to look at. I also want to point out that, of course, another big determiner of body messages is culture. So depending on what culture she is in, her body will be sending a different message. If she is, say, in Brazil, where people are very physically expressive and loud, and there's a lot of movement in the limbs, this would be very unusual for someone to look this contained and this sort of controlled. That would have a different resonance. But if I said to you, she's in a more conservative and traditional culture, a culture where she's trying to be respectful and not take up too much room, that would send a different message. So thank you for that. And I think we even have time to do our last one. This is very exciting. You're all very efficient. This gentleman, again, looks like he's not having the best day. So who moderated number 6? Who is our moderator for this last one?
Ahmed. I'm
Oh,
the moderator.
wonderful. Thank you very much, Ahmed. What did you find?
Okay, so our group has agreed about the positive things. He's confident,
Yes, absolutely.
attentive,
Mhm.
and like concentrating and like responsive. He's like preparing or analyzing the situation on how
Yes,
to respond. Yeah, something like
great.
that.
He's thinking hard.
Yeah, thinking hard. Yeah. About the negatives, there is some sort of impatience, and we can see this a lot in our waiting area in emergency, waiting for 6 hours and 7 hours to be seen. So this is this is
Yes.
what we're seeing. Yeah. So there's some sort of impatience. He's disappointed, a bit disappointed,
Mm.
and some sort of an anxiety as well. He's anxious.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So
you so
let
much.
us break down what is happening in this human that sends these messages. Just going to turn off my alarm, reminding me that our break is coming up. So his limbs are closed, but not completely. That's very interesting. And I think that reinforces Ahmed's idea of confidence. So he may be a confident person, but at the moment, he feels maybe a little less secure. So he has crossed his limbs. There is some muscular tension in his upper body and perhaps also in his legs. I think that contributes to the feeling of perhaps he is impatient. He is covering his mouth. When humans cover their mouth, it sends a lot of messages. It can be that they are considering carefully what to say. It can be that they are surprised or dismayed, but we immediately notice that. The other thing is that his eyes are focused perhaps in the distance, but it doesn't look like they're focused on anything in particular. So that again sends a signal to us, he's not fully in this room. His attention is somewhere else. Thank you very much. That is excellent. I'm going to bring you back to me before we go on our break. Thank you for that work in small groups. When we come back from our break, we're going to do a kind of very rapid review of pictures of humans. And I'm going to ask you in the chat to respond to questions about them as we go through. And this will be part of training your eye to articulate the messages you see in other people's bodies. So let us now take our break. We will be back in 10 minutes. If you need more time, you are welcome to take it. Thank you for your work. I will see you in 10 minutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I know there may be folks who need another couple of minutes to come back to us, and that is absolutely fine. Giving folks just a little while to join. All right, great. So now we're going to go into this activity I described before. I would like you to imagine that you are attending a professional conference and you need to ask someone a question. Perhaps it is about the schedule, perhaps it is about the location of the next meeting, etc. I'm going to show you a pair of human figures. I want you to decide which of the two figures you would approach to ask a question, and then I want you to tell me why. So, for example, one figure will be marked A, one will be marked B. I may look at the figures and say, I would approach A because her limbs are open, or I would approach B because she's smiling. So see if you can not only give me your decision on which you'd approach, but give me a reason why. And you can respond in the chat. So we're going to go relatively quickly, and we'll have a rolling list of everybody's comments in the chat that you can look at. And this exercise is designed to get a little more challenging as we go through the images. I'm going to start taking away elements of the images. The images will become more and more simplified to train your brain into focusing just on the body shape and nothing else. All right, so let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen with you. Let's come back here. Okay, and I'm looking for my share screen option, which appears to have disappeared. Where is my share screen option? This does make me laugh. Okay, hold on one moment. I'm going to have to get out of this, and there we go. If it's not one thing, it's something else. Okay, so let's go into share. And here comes our first image. And I'd like you to respond in the chat. So of these two figures, which one would you approach to ask a question? And tell me why. I'm going to open the chat so I can watch what we're doing. Okay, so a couple things to notice here are A, her limbs are open, but she almost looks like she's ready to play, which is a little unusual at a professional conference. B, her hands are tightly closed, but she has a lovely look on her face. All right, so that may be influencing your decision. Let's now take a look at the next one. Would you approach A or B and tell me why? Okay. Very nice. I'm following the chat. We have B seems to be in the room, says Ola. Absolutely. B is looking at us, the viewer. His limbs are open. A, his limbs are closed, and his attention is elsewhere. Absolutely. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Would you approach A or B? B, of course, she is formal. Now, one thing to notice at this point in this exercise, how are you being influenced by clothing? We make a lot of sense out of what people wear. We receive many messages from what people wear, right? So when someone is more casually dressed and someone is more formally dressed, it affects us. You don't have to change anything, just notice. Okay, let's take these two on. A or B, who would you approach and why? Faces are very interesting in this pair because A looks maybe a little sour, but B is looking off entirely. Again, how are you influenced by clothing? What messages are you receiving from these people's clothes? A is serious, B, we're not sure, maybe he's angry. Let's do another one. You will see I am now starting to take away some information. I'm going to give you cartoons instead of real life photos. Would you approach A or B? Pretty much everybody says A. B looks like she's going to have a meltdown. Something has gone wrong. Her limbs are open, but definitely something is happening. Let's take a look at this one. Would you approach A or B? A, enthusiastic. B looks maybe a little closed. Very nice. A or B? He is doing the thinking pose we were talking about earlier. B, people say B looks confident. Oh, some people say both. So these pictures will continue to get more and more simplified to take away information. These pictures are very similar. But what does your instinct say? Which would you approach, A or B, and why? B seems more welcoming. Oh, some folks say A. Interesting. So A has her limbs completely closed. B a little more open. Abir says neither. You'd find someone else to ask a question of. Okay, I did not mean to make my screen smaller. There we go. I'm taking even more information away. Which one would you approach, A or B? Some folks saying A. Right. A looks confident and open, according to Ola. Very nice. Neither of them. Iman would also go to someone else for help. A or B, which would you approach? B, interesting. Yes, A looks like he might be at a football game. Someone just ran by on my chat saying that Ola, neither, they seem insane. If you're at a professional conference, we talked about context, right? If I said that they are at a dance party, they're at a celebration, that's one thing. But if they're at a professional conference, oh my goodness. Okay, take a look at this one, A or B. Neither, says Syra, right? Both of these figures seem a little tense. They might be upset about something, so maybe we just don't go to them. Both angry. Now, not only have I taken all the information away, but the image is fuzzy. Which one of these two would you approach? Some people say B, some people say A. We're kind of divided. So we can't really see what they're doing with their limbs, but it looks like B might have crossed limbs. A, perhaps her limbs are in her pockets. We're not sure. Very nice. Even less information. Which of these two would you approach? This one makes me laugh. None again? Okay. Very nice. What about this one? Which would you approach, A or B? It could be that B is saying hello to us, but then again, B might just be raising their hand. We don't really know. Ahmed says A, that is the basic human neutral body. What about this one, A or B? Yeah, context would matter here, right? B is better, people are saying. B looks a little more relaxed. A looks like they're having a terrible day. A will fall down. Would you approach A or B? Are they dancing? Are they waving? Hard to know. But they both seem, Ola says they are both drunk. They definitely have been partying. All right, very nice. I'm going to bring you back to me. Thank you so much for participating in that. So I'd like you to just notice that over the course of that exercise, you received less and less detail, less and less information. And yet you were still able to pick up messages from those human figures. We are so good at reading other human beings that we can read silhouettes with no detail. And we receive messages from that we immediately interpret and use to help us make decisions about, is this person a friend or a foe? Well done, everyone. I want to move on to vocal expression. So even though this part of our lesson is about nonverbal communication, there's a lot that goes on with the voice that is not about words, right? That is about the tones we use and the rhythm of our language, etc. So I want to take a look at that. And for this, we will, in a moment, break into 6 small groups again. Our moderators, you will be in charge again. Now, moderators, you would have received some secret instructions. I want you to follow those instructions in this next exercise, but please don't share them with your group. It will be much more fun for the group if you keep those to yourselves. So, as before, I will give you the instructions verbally, and then I'll put up a slide that you can take a screenshot of. Once we break into our 6 groups, the first thing I'd like you to do, group, is elect one person to be your speaker. And speaker, you'll have to talk for probably about 5 minutes, but it will be on a topic that hopefully you very much enjoy. Speaker, I'd like you to think of a very enjoyable, fun event that you recently experienced. It could be anything, something with your family, something at a film or a party, etc. Once you have that in mind, I want you to tell the story of that event to your group. Now, because you're going to have to talk for about 5 minutes, speakers, if you start running out of things to say, your other group members can ask you questions to keep the story going. So your job, speaker, is just to talk as much as you can talk the entire time you're in your small group. Okay? Meanwhile, group members, your job is just to help the speaker tell the story, ask questions if they get stuck. Moderator, I want you to follow your secret instructions. And when we bring you all back into plenary, I will reveal the secret instructions that the moderators are using. So, before we break into small groups, what questions do you have? Okay, are there...
The speaker,
Okay.
one question. The speaker will be a different person from the moderator.
Thank
Right?
you for asking that, Iman. Yes, because the moderator has a secret task, I would like the speaker to be somebody else in the group.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarification. All right, I'm going to put these instructions up on the screen so that you can take a picture of them. get you to my screen first, and then I will
Excuse
move
me?
this along.
When we
Okay.
are back, we will share the stories in all the groups.
Yes. So each moderator from each group will share what they've discovered, and I'll help you talk through it.
The moderator will speak instead of the speaker.
Yes, that's
When we
exactly
are
right.
back, okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Hadir, for that clarification. That's very helpful. All right, so please take a screenshot of these instructions. We'll give you a few seconds to do that, and then we'll move back into our small groups. And you will have, I think we can do this in 10 minutes at the most, because there'll be some time at the beginning to get settled. All right. Zineb, whenever you're ready, we can break into our 6 groups.
Okay,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you for your good work. I brought you back a couple minutes early because I'm sure the speakers were running out of things to say.
But we keep asking her.
Yes,
We keep
yes.
asking and asking, yes.
It is a big challenge to speak for that long. We do it all the time, right? But when you have to do it in an exercise, it feels very different. All right, so before I ask our moderators to report on what they noticed, I want to thank the speakers. That was a big job you did, and I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. I also want to reveal what I asked our moderators to watch out for. There is something that occurs across human cultures, across human languages. Every single human in the world uses them, and they are called vocal fillers. And I just used one. We'll see if you can catch it. A vocal filler is any sound or repeated word that does not carry meaning. So, it is different in different languages. In the US, people say okay, 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 or they say like. They say things like, oh, it was like really hot, like really weird. And then we had a hamburger and it was like really strange, you know. These vocal fillers, because they are used across all cultures, are actually very helpful to us as humans. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. What I asked your moderators to do was to listen to the speaker and then mark down every vocal filler that they heard. So we're going to report back on what the moderators found. Now, before we listen to this, there's a couple things you must understand. One of them is, as I said, vocal fillers show up in every culture and every single language, even sign language. There are fillers even in sign language, which is astonishing. The second thing is that if you speak in your first language, you have far fewer vocal fillers. If you are speaking in your second, third, or fourth language, you have many more. I have 3 times as many vocal fillers in French as I do in English. And that is, again, true across the entire world. The other thing is that vocal fillers are very helpful. Hang on to that idea. Please, speakers, do not feel embarrassed if you had vocal fillers. We all do. All right. So now let us go through moderator by moderator, and let's see what you discovered. So moderator number 1, I think that was Abir.
Yes.
Tell us what you found.
Actually, he said about 16 times.
Okay. And that was it?
Yes, yes. But it was a really interesting story. I enjoyed.
Excellent. And I have to say, that is nothing.
Yes.
I have had people in Famer who use 300 vocal fillers in 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. So well done, speaker. And who was your speaker, Abir?
Dr. Ahmed Awad.
Wonderful. Well done, Ahmed. That was very, very well done. Moderator number 2, what did you find?
Hi. So
Hi, Bas-
how are you? I interviewed Goeli, and he told us a nice story. I counted the time he spoke continuously for 3 minutes 15 seconds, and he has 12 filler and mainly and he has 7 ands where there was no context for ands.
Yes.
And we started to asking him and question him. The fact that I joined him in the same journey, so I remember more detailed more than him. So I gave him some probing to complete the story, but otherwise we enjoyed it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And again, that is not many fillers. So that's quite remarkable. All right, let's have our third one. Ikara, was that you?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Okay, I interviewed Dr. Hadir, and I found she told us a nice story about her camping, dust camping. I found she said for 34 times. I mean, but it said in Arabic, يعني. Okay, I mean, يعني, for 8 times.
Uh-huh.
But for 15 times. What I mean is for 6 times. Okay.
All
So
right.
I think this is what but I have some observation.
Yes.
When she start talking, the rate of is very more frequent.
Yes.
When she get engaged more and more in the conversation, we ask her some interesting question about her feeling. So these filler start to decrease.
Yes.
And at one moment, she spoke for I think 50 seconds without any filler.
Yes. And thank you for sharing that observation. That is true
Yes.
for almost all of us. And I
Yes.
would say the amount of fillers that you noticed is typical. That is the amount of fillers most of us will use if we are speaking in something other than our first language. Thank you
Yes.
very much for that. And then I think we
Yes.
have Iman was number 4. I think. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Minna was the speaker. She told us about her visit to Slovakia. She used the vocal filler about 7 or 8 times,
Mhm.
which is a very small number of vocal filler during her story.
It certainly is.
Yes, but because she told the story in Arabic, so the fluency of telling the story doesn't need many vocal fillers. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely. It is remarkably different if you move from your first language into your second, third, and fourth languages. And in FAMER, we tend to recommend English just because in the International Institute, we have so many languages represented. But it is very different if you speak in your first language or your second or third. Thank you for that. And fourth, I think we have Ola. Are you fourth?
Yes, yes.
Great.
My speaker was Saira. She has to take the golden medal
Oh,
for being has no fillers. Maybe 2 likes, like, and I want to share the observation that Saira is not talking in her first language. This is the first thing. The other thing, that her nonverbal way of talking or expression, it overcomes any vocal fillers
oh,
that might she
Thank you
say,
so much.
and I didn't
I'm
notice
overwhelmed.
because she's very good in telling her story. She was very comfortable, and I might engage in the story more than focusing on or noticing these fillers.
yes, I have this problem too. When I
Very
have been
good.
the one tracking fillers, I get so caught up in the story, I forget to do it. So, yes, thank you very much for
Because
that, and
Saira
well
was
done.
very good.
Saira, well done.
Thank you so much.
So we have one more. I believe it is Ahmed, one of our Ahmeds, who was the in charge.
Yeah, our speaker was Dr. Yasmin. She shared very nice happy news with us. She got promotion in the end of July. Massive congrats for her. And
Great.
she traveled to Egypt, had a very nice family gathering and celebration. I'm so happy for her. In a way, I do agree with you, MB, about the fillers. It adds nice aspect to the story, really.
Yes.
So I can see it as something like, yeah. Anyway, she told us her story in 6 minutes. She have some nice filler I like too much. So she used okay twice. She used so twice. And what else twice? And the repeated ones was like the true fillers. It's like 6 times. And then in 6 times. And like twice. Well,
Thank
congrats
you
for her,
very
by the way.
much.
Thank you so much.
Great. And thank you for your detail, moderators, in paying attention. That is very, very useful. So, as I said, these fillers show up everywhere. There is no human on the planet who does not at some point use fillers. The only reason then that there will be fillers is because they're useful to us, or they would have evolved out of language. So, how are fillers useful? Let me offer a couple of ideas, and then I would like to hear you supplement those ideas. I think one reason that we use them is because we need a moment to think, but we don't want to be silent. That is for many different reasons. Perhaps we are nervous about losing our audience's attention, about boring our audience. Perhaps we are a member of an interrupting culture. There are cultures in the world that never interrupt the speaker. There are cultures in the world that always interrupt the speaker and help tell the story. So this is a cultural consideration. For example, here in the US, I am from the north part of the US, and my husband is from the east part of the US. Where I am from, no one ever interrupts. Where he is from, you interrupt constantly. And that is a way of demonstrating that you are engaged in the story. So I use many more fillers when I am telling my husband a story so that he does not interrupt me. So those are a couple of reasons. Also, fillers can soften disagreements or bad news. So if I say to someone, "You're wrong, I disagree," that feels very different than if I say, "Well, you're wrong, and I disagree." It is a much softer message. Fillers can be useful that way as well. But let me now open the discussion to you. How do you think fillers might be useful to humans? Anything I have not mentioned? Syra.
Sometimes when you're speaking about something and you don't know what to say the next sentence as, you can say a little so you think of the thing and then you can tell. You can continue the story with a little in between. Or you can
Yes.
say okay, and then you can do it. Like you get a pause, you get into breathe sometimes, and you get into think about something in seconds.
Yes.
That happens with me.
Yes,
Sometimes.
absolutely. And I think it happens with most of us. And often a filler will show up when we're trying to remember something that we've forgotten, or we're trying to invent something that we have never said before. So it gives us a little moment to think, to gather our thoughts before we proceed. Thank you very much.
I think if we have no fillers, the stories will be broken. We will have a lot of pauses and silence in our conversations. So I don't think we will live without it.
You bring up, this is excellent, Bassem, because you have just transitioned into the next part of what I was going to say. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I think you should be my co-teacher. That would be very helpful. So, as Bassem says, the alternative. Oh, yes, Farman.
Yes. Sometimes fillers make more boring while some presentation or official meeting. A lot of fillers makes us like more boring and like feels this is not confident actually.
Thank
Lot
you.
of
Thank you
fillers
for
like,
bringing that up.
like, yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
So there is a negative side to fillers, and we'll dive into that in just a moment. Ola, what do you think?
I
I
think
just want to ask something about fillers. Sometimes it is a repetitive word that is actually kind of embarrassing for public speaker, because it sometimes this is we called it in Arabic lazma. It is something very irritable for the public speaker, especially when they hold a position and have to talk different times in different audience. Is there is a strategy or a protocol to help such people?
Absolutely. Now, see, you are so good. You are so good. You are helping me
This is
structure my
assignment.
class.
I think
This is assignment feedback.
okay. I think also that the vocal filler is characteristic for this person. And it is a
Yes.
characteristic for this person. When there is a talk or something or a lecture for this speaker, so I am expecting to listen a specific vocal filler from this person. It is a characteristic for this person.
Yes, and I'm sure you have seen in medical schools that if there is a lecturer who uses one vocal filler over and over, the students will actually keep track of it during a
Yes.
lecture.
Yes.
They do this in the US, they do this in India, they do this in Brazil. I am sure that they do this in Cairo. So they'll write down how many times the professor said, yes, Saira.
Just a small interception, and sometimes they name the professor with that word.
Oh,
So they don't say that professor, they say, oh, Mr. So and so is coming.
yes, so there are, and we have now transitioned beautifully, thanks to all of you, into the negative use of fillers. If we use too many fillers, the following things can happen. It can break up our thoughts, so we are actually harder to understand, so that our listeners have to kind of wade through all the fillers to hang on to your meaning. Also, they can distract. So if we have many, inevitably, the listeners will start paying attention to the fillers and not the content. But the one that affects, I think, all of us, but is never discussed, if we become aware that we use an enormous amount of fillers, they can actually distract us from our message, right? They can break up our thoughts. So it is useful to try to cut down on the number of fillers, and there are many ways to do this. But I want to address what a couple folks have already mentioned: silence. It is absolutely possible, instead of using fillers, to take a moment of thoughtful silence. I just did it. I just did it again. This gives us time to think and time to respond without filling up that gap with sound. Taking these moments of thoughtful silence has a number of positive outcomes. One of them is that we feel less rushed and less anxious because we have given ourselves permission to think in silence. We can enjoy then the process of articulating our thoughts. Fewer fillers, these moments of silence, instead allow our thoughts to be more coherent. There is simply less information for our learners to process. So we end up being more coherent. And as educators, moments of thoughtful silence allow us to model for our learners what it means to respond carefully and without rushing ourselves. If we take moments of thoughtful silence, I can guarantee the others will too, the learners will too. They will imitate you without even knowing they're doing it. I see this in every one of my classes. Whatever I do, the students end up doing. If you take moments of thoughtful silence, they will too. The other thing that I've heard from a number of people in FAMR is that moments of thoughtful silence can actually be a bit of a relief in a lecture because they give the listener time to process what has just been said. So I recommend that you give yourself permission to take moments of thoughtful silence. Now, fillers are often unconscious. We're not even aware we're doing them. So the first step to getting rid of them is to become aware.
Awareness, yes.
And there are many ways to do this. You can ask a colleague to watch you and note down your fillers, as we did today. You can videotape yourself and watch it. When you become aware of what fillers you use and when you use them, then I recommend a program of self-study to get rid of them. And because we only have a couple minutes left, I'm going to very briefly introduce this to you by sharing my screen. One last time. This is a self-study program that I use, and the faculty in the International FAMR Institute uses as well. So let us say we want to get rid of vocal fillers. How do we do it? The first way is to choose a class that you have to teach or a speech you have to give, where you know the content very well and you trust the students. Then choose the communication skill you want to work on, eliminating vocal fillers. Once you've chosen that, teach the class. But only focus on not using fillers twice during the class. And I tend to do this by either putting sticky notes on my lectern or writing it in my speech. Watch for vocal fillers twice. When you finish teaching the class, debrief yourself as you walk to your next class, go back to your office. What did I do well? How could I improve? Do this once a month, twice a month. Over time, this ends up leading to changing habits. And vocal fillers are nothing more than a habit, and it can be changed. So I have thrown an enormous amount of information at you in a very short period of time. In our last moment, I want you just to think through if there is anything you can take away from this class that you might find useful within the next couple of weeks. You can raise your hand. You can also put it in the chat. What will you take away from today's work?
Self-study, something very important. Self-study. I like it too much. To work on yourself, to develop yourself, to monitor yourself. It's really something very important to have progress.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I agree, Ahmed. And I feel that what I have found is focusing on something I want to change once or twice a month in a very familiar class with trusted students is the way to effect change, because it does not disrupt the rest of what I'm doing. So I write notes to myself in my calendar. I put reminder emails. This week, MB, work on a communication skill in one of your classes. And over time, that's how I've been able to change my communication skills. Saira.
Okay, so I'll take away three things. Number one, to improve my body language. I now know what are the deficiencies, how I stand, what kind of hand movements I make, and what I should not do and what I should do. So that is what I know. Number two, when I am there in a class or speaking to somebody, how to keep that eye contact in a confident way. And of course, about these fillers. I don't know I gave a filler or not, but I usually don't do with fillers. So I'll note this time. So I'm taking so much from all this, like in one word, you can say I am taking confidence from this session, and I'll
Excellent.
implement that in my lectures and teachings.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Khada, you will have our last comment.
Yes, body language, as Sira said, and something I found under practice, that is congruency or alignment between verbal and non-verbal cues is very important, especially when there is when there is a distracting or something are not congruent. The audience start believe in non-verbal cues more than the verbal cues. And sometimes these make us not understanding, or make the audience or the communicator not understanding what I say, or misunderstanding what the words I give to them. So congruency or alignment between verbal and non-verbal cues are very important.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you participating in this session at the end of your very long workday. I appreciate it, and I love being with you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. And please write me anytime with questions or observations. Your administrators can make sure that you have my address. Thank you so much, and see you soon, I hope.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, MB.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks so much.